Gun owners of all races and creeds from Virginia and across the country are here to stand in solidarity against gun control. I want to thank all of you for coming out on such a cold day.
Well, we won't back down. We're gonna stand our ground. We know you're trying to open the gates of hell, but we won't back down. So yes, we'll stand our ground. We won't be pushed around. We must keep you from putting our kids in the ground, so we can't stand down. No, we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't stand down, brother. So we'll stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. 'Cause we know what's right. And we got plenty of fight. And if you think you're gonna keep pushing us around, well, you'll lose that crown. 'Cause we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. You know, it's pretty clear that these lunatics think they have the right to strip us of our rights of self-defense. And if they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. No, we won't back down. Back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground. So we won't back down. No, we won't back down. Virginians, you won't fight this fight alone.
Oh, I got one screen. Too many screens. Well, hello, everybody.
Hey,
Hey there.
There we go. So Ed Levine here, Philip Van Cleve, and Pat Webb here to give you the news on what's going on in the VCDL world.
the skinny. is what we'll
Skinny.
call- Yeah. Well, we got all sorts of fun things going on. I've got an alert that's getting ready to go out. By the time this show is over, you will have the alert in your inbox probably. Should be going out any time now. A lot of things going on. We can start with let's pick up with Dominion Energy. We've had a lot of people contacting us about this Dominion Energy situation. And for those of you that may not be completely familiar with it, Dominion Energy, with whom a lot of us are stuck as our power provider and don't have a choice, gave $200,000 to a dark money PAC run by Democrats, and they created a fake gun rights organization whose goal was to discourage gun owners in the more conservative parts of the state from voting for Glenn Youngkin. Basically threw up a bunch of questions, things basically saying that, well, we just can't trust Glenn Youngkin and so forth and so on. So it wasn't a real gun organization with concerns. It was a fake gun organization with fake everything, trying to act like a sheep. Well, they were actually in wolf's clothing. So Dominion, once they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, now they're claiming that, oh, well, we didn't know. We should have vetted these people. We gave them $200,000 and didn't bother to vet them. Yeah, well, wow. That's, man,
We
I
always
didn't have
we
that kind
always
of money. You
trust
just
Cherry
go, "Here,
McAuliffe.
just take this. Do whatever you want with it. I don't care." That's crazy. So did they really not know? I'm telling you, it does make me wonder. It really does. I can't imagine really that the CEO didn't know what they were going to do. This really feels more like a hand in a cookie jar situation. They didn't get it out in time. They got caught, and it's like, oh, well, we didn't know, blah, blah, blah. We want our $200,000 back. Well, wait a minute. So what if you get your $200,000 back? That money, even if you got back every penny of it, was still used, borrowed to do damage to a campaign and to scare off gun owners to keep them from voting. How are you
Right.
going to undo that damage? So a couple thoughts have come to mind from passed on by members. And one, which is in the alert, is let's see some paperwork. Let's see the documentation that shows this was innocent. I would love to see all that paperwork that had anything to do with this incident to confirm whether you did or didn't know what you were doing, Dominion Energy. Color me skeptical of this. You could, fix that by turning loose all the documentation on it and showing that indeed it was an accident. But I'm very skeptical. The
Call
other
you
thing,
crazy.
what?
Call you crazy.
Yes, call me. That's Terry McAuliffe. It's crazy Terry McAuliffe who wants to be called crazy. So the other thing was that to balance things out, what Dominion Energy could do is they could give $200,000 to the VCDL PAC. In which case, the VCDL PAC could then use that money to buy ads to basically clear up the mess that Dominion Energy made. So those ideas are in the alert. And Stephen Gutowski, who wrote the original article, catching all of this, has updated his article with what's currently going on. He's kind of keeping up with this, with Dominion Energy and their reaction. The VCDL, and as well as the VCDL PAC, have put together a set of ads that are going to be a link in that alert that you're getting shortly. These are basically, we think it's important that people understand that while the Democrat Party, in this case, really McAuliffe and Ayala and
Herring.
and Herring are busy trying to take away our gun rights. At the same time, they're busy letting bad guys, seriously bad guys, out of prison early. And those bad guys, many of them have committed another crime. Some of them have committed murder again. Some have committed sexual assaults and everything else. These guys shouldn't be walking around amongst us if they're vicious, violent criminals. You would not turn a tiger loose out of the zoo and put him in downtown Richmond. You wouldn't do that because the tiger is a predator. He will seek out victims.
Let me get this straight. They want to take our guns away and limit our ability to protect ourselves and our families. And at the same time, they're turning violent criminals loose early, just turning them loose in our neighborhoods and depriving us of the ability to protect ourselves against the criminals that they're putting back out that should still be locked up.
What could go wrong, Pat? What could possibly go wrong?
I don't know. I don't know. Makes perfect sense to me. Just like rioters shouldn't be stopped from rioting, right?
Oh, of course not. They're
Right.
just, they're just doing their First Amendment thing by burning down buildings and beating people up and putting them in the hospital. It's just First Amendment stuff.
Right.
Do you want to see that ad?
Yeah, let's run that ad.
Virginia's murder rate is at a 20-year high, but the McAuliffe Herring Ayala Parole Board is releasing violent criminals into our neighborhoods. This man killed a 75-year-old veteran. This one raped and murdered a 78-year-old woman. He killed a 15-year-old girl. Vote on or before November 2nd to tell these politicians and their parole board to stop turning violent criminals loose on our families. Paid for by Virginia Citizens Defense League PAC, defending the right to defend yourself.
I think there was a little bit. Whoop, what happened to Philip?
I don't know. We lost him. His lips were moving.
I don't know what happened to Philip. There he is.
One of those criminals tried to break in my back door just now.
Must have.
I had to step away for a minute. We're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's great. You know, again, kudos to our guy Matt G. Does great work on that stuff.
Yes, he does.
Oh yeah, awesome talent there.
And for some of you out in the Harrisonburg area and the Fredericksburg area, there's in the alert where we still need some members, especially urgently for Fredericksburg for the gun show this weekend. We're going to be, so if you're in that area and you can help out, that would be wonderful. We really need to keep our table fully staffed because it can get very busy. People come to VCDL to get answers and we'll give them to them, but we got to have people there to man the booth. The Saturday afternoon shift from 1 to 5 is open, and Sunday from 1 to 4 is open. As this is again is in Fredericksburg, and you can reach out if you can help with this. Send an email to gunshows with an S, gunshows.fredericksburg@vcdl.org, and Jamie Brannon will be the person you're communicating with. Also, there's a link where you can sign up online using an events calendar, and that's too long to give here, but that'll be online. If you live in Harrisonburg, we could use some help next weekend at the Harrisonburg gun show at the Rockingham County Fairgrounds, and there the help is needed again from Saturday 1 to 5. And Sunday from 10 to 1 and 1 to 5, those two shifts. Again, none of this stuff, no experience necessary. There will be people there who are experienced, so don't feel like you're going to let us down unless you absolutely know how to do this already. Everybody has to cut their teeth one way or another by getting out and doing it. And it's a wonderful thing to do. I mean, I've certainly done my share of this. And again, people showing up and how nice they are to us and how thankful they are for the help that we provide. And you
Plus, it's fun.
It is fun. Yeah. Gun owners are fun people to be around. Let's face it. Could you imagine being at a show where it was the gun controllers? That would, oh man, they don't have enough aspirin in the world to survive that. But our side is a lot of fun. Our side, we enjoy life. And we just have a good time. So if you can do this, that would be wonderful. Now let's move on a little bit. As recently as the last time that they had a General Assembly session where we could be at a meeting, which was a few years ago now, one of the gun controllers said, "Oh, CHP holders, they never stop crime. This stuff doesn't. They never do anything about stopping crime. That's all a fantasy." And of course, he was lying. And it goes on all the time. And in the alert, we've got 3 examples this week, of which 2 are in Virginia, and 1 is elsewhere. So, in one case down in Virginia Beach, a CHP holder was, I guess, in the parking lot walking to his car, and a guy comes up to him and pulls a knife on him. So he brought a knife to a gunfight. Anybody out there want to guess how this turned out? So consequently, he ended up with an extra hole that he didn't have before he pulled the knife. And once the gun owner apparently realized that the bad guy was down, at least not a threat anymore, probably kicked the knife away or whatever with the guy down. The gun owner took his gun and put it in his car and then waited for the police to show up, which was exactly, I'd say, his perfect way to handle that. The gun wasn't in his hand. It wasn't needed anymore. So he just got it out of the way and locked it up in his car, and then waited, obviously, for the police to show up so that he could get them involved and get the situation resolved and get help for the knife-wielding man with the extra belly button. So that was one. So that was here in Virginia Beach this week. And old man a criminal is saving his life and maybe the life of others from a knife-wielding individual. The next one in Virginia is actually in Fredericksburg. This was an elderly CHP holder who's had a fair number of health concerns over the years. As you get older, you generally don't get stronger. So he's a classic example of that. And he was attacked at an ATM by a younger, meaner individual that started beating on him. Now understand, this man had been in and out of the hospital quite a bit over the last few years. He's had very severe health issues. And here he was at this ATM, and this guy's pounding on him. Let me tell you, there's something in the law called disparity of force. Disparity of force is when somebody else may not have a gun, they may not even have a knife or another weapon. There may be more of them than there are you. They may be bigger, meaner, stronger than you. But the point is that your life would be reasonably believed to be in immediate danger of death or grievous bodily injury. This guy's going to put you back in the hospital, and you're going to spend months there, and you may never be the same. The law does not require that you take such a beating or that your life be snuffed out by one of these people. You can fight back, and you can use deadly force in doing so. The permit holder fired back at least one or two shots, scared off the bad guy. Now, let me pause here. There's another major lesson in this, and this is something we've harped at before. And if anybody out there shook their head and said, I don't know, let me tell you, we're 100% right on this, and you need to listen. The first thing you do after an event like that, where you've had to use a gun, even if you just brandish it, you didn't fire it, you just brandished it and the guy ran off, or you fired it and the guy ran off, or you shot the guy and he's down. You need to be the first person calling the police, and you need to call them right away. As soon as the situation's safe enough, you call the police. And the reason we've harped on that, and some of you may have written it off, is we've said, look, the bad guy can be the one to make the call trying to get you in trouble. He can play the victim. Oh, this crazy loon at the ATM shot at me. I had to run off. I couldn't even get my money out of the ATM. Well, that's exactly what happened here. The bad guy ran off, and he called the police to report the good guy having shot at him. Luckily, the good guy did what we've been saying all along. I believe he's a member. That you call the police right away. So the police already were on their way to the scene when this guy called with his crocodile tear story that he had been the one that was the victim. They didn't believe him for a second, and they arrested him.
I was just going to say a quick comment to that is one of our lawyers, like Gilbert Ambler, has said, look, if you come in a situation where you had to brandish and did something like that, instead of you call the police yourself directly, you can, if he's available, if Gilbert's available, you can call him and let him call for you as a lawyer, so that if there's no issue or anything about it, they don't have your name as the guy anymore. I don't know.
That's as long as it doesn't take too long.
Right. Yeah, if you can't reach him, then you just got to call yourself. But this way you have another way to just say, hey, well, I have a client that did this, and this, and if If you think he's a person of interest and you need to talk about it, then let me know.
Otherwise, if you're stuck, then you don't need to be a chatty Cathy. Just indicate that if you hit the person, get an ambulance rolling, but just get the police there, and don't remember. Well, that tape's recording. Anything you say, even if it could be totally innocent and 100% could be misused against you. So you're best to get them rolling, and I wouldn't hang on the line with the 911 operator. I would hang up and wait patiently for the police. Might give my own description and just say the good guy, the person here who's the victim, is wearing a green shirt or something.
Right.
And get the gun out of your hand if there's any way possible. Go ahead and holster that gun. Get it out of your hands. Have nothing in your hands.
And you also want to make sure that the person that attacked you is not the only bad guy there.
Yes. Before you put your gun away, you do need to scan. And remember, you'll have no peripheral vision. You'll be able to only see this much, so you will need to literally move your head looking around you, maybe even turn 360 degrees just to make sure there's nobody coming up behind you. There have been sad cases of that. I remember one where an individual, I think a bad guy went in and killed 3 cops or something in a restaurant, just an assassination. He went bam, 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 killed 3 of them. Then he went into, if I remember the story correctly, he went into something like a big store and like a Walmart, and he was in there, and he pulled a gun again in there, and the good guy pulled out his gun and had the gun on the bad guy. What the good guy didn't know is the bad guy's girlfriend was behind him and shot him in the back and killed him. Okay, so you don't know. There's an element of danger in this, but you just have to be aware of that. Life is dangerous. So that was the incident in Fredericksburg, Pennsylvania. A mall shooting began. 4 people were shot in a mall until a concealed handgun permit holder drew a gun and held the bad guy at gunpoint. And again, what do we hear from the gun control crowd? Oh, if you do that, the police won't know you're the good guy. They're going to come and kill you, and you're just going to die. There's no point, Well, no. Guess what? That didn't happen. As long as you are keeping a cool head and you get the gun out of your hand and comply with the instructions, don't question the instructions, just roll with it, just go with it. You'll have plenty of time later to explain you're the good guy. Don't stand there and argue with them and say, I'm the good guy, leave me alone. Expect to be put on the ground, expect to be handcuffed, accept that as part of what's got to be done so that these guys can go home from their shift alive, and hopefully you will go home from this alive. Just accept that that's the way it is. You're going to get held. That's not arrested. You're just being detained. Just accept that and roll with it. You're not the bad guy, and soon the police will know that, and they'll uncuff you, and that'll be the end of that. But in the meanwhile, just go with the flow till everything calms down, and stay cool.
And we have videos in our archives on the YouTube channel where attorneys that specialize in gun laws have come on our live broadcasts and answered your questions. And they cover a lot of this stuff in those videos. So you can go back and review those as well. Gilbert Ambler and John Pierce are 2 very good attorneys when it comes to gun laws, and they're very active in VCDL.
Yeah, we're very blessed. We have a pool of attorneys, but those are 2 of our most active. But by far not all of them. I've got a story coming up on another attorney here in Virginia that shut down a gun buyback or a buy up on his own with a letter, just boom, like that. I'll talk about that shortly. What happened in Pennsylvania was, the CHP holder put an end to it. The police showed up. CHP holder was not shot by the police. They figured it out. It's not that difficult. And so they're going to be reviewing all the video and all that. They have to do this to determine for sure that the CHP holder isn't to be charged, but they didn't even hold him. So I don't expect much is going to be going on there. He probably saved a bunch of lives. And again, the gun controllers will lie to you and say this stuff never happens. Here we got 3 examples, 2 in Virginia and 1 in Pennsylvania, just in a day or 2.
It's funny that those really don't make the news very much.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Although a few of these made local news, and that's usually the way it is. It will sometimes make local news. So Wavy covered the one in Virginia Beach, and the Fredericksburg paper covered that one. But you won't see national news pick up and run with that. No, that's not something they want to talk about. It's not the way it's supposed to be in their little pea brains. So what else happened? Well, we had today the bump stock case moved forward again, giving you a history on that. And again, let me set the stage here. It's not that VCDL is greatly in love with bump stocks and that we think these are a real panacea and everybody should have one and they're just an invaluable tactical tool you could use to save your life. No, we're not in that mind camp. They're fun. You could practice with one and get really good with it and use it for self-defense if you wanted to, but they're mostly fun. And then with the cost of ammo nowadays, I don't know that they're as much fun as they used to be. But the problem was that the BATF made a law out of whole cloth. They're not supposed to make law. The BATF is an agency. They are to implement law. They don't make it. They don't determine what the penalty is. But in this case, they made law. They basically, out of thin air, they said that a bump stock is a machine gun. All of us in the gun community were sitting there holding our heads at the total stupidity of that and thinking, how do you have respect for an organization, an agency that says something like that, knowing damn good and well it's not true?
And isn't it also that some of the verbiage on it, like, so someone that might never want a bump stock, a spump stock, I mean, say that 5 times fast. But if they don't, they might not want those. They're like, I don't care if those are banned or whatever. But what they don't realize is in the laws, it might also say you can't have a trigger, a new trigger.
Yeah,
because that might put more, but people don't read that part of it.
Yeah, if you let the BATF make law, then they can do whatever they want. They can make anything illegal. They can call anything a machine gun. They sort of have in the past. For a while, rubber bands were machine guns and shoelaces were machine guns. I kid you not. That's actually, I'm dead serious on that. So that shows you how things can go and how they can flip-flop. 1 minute something's fine, next minute you're in trouble because they made a mistake. How stupid is that? That the agency makes a mistake, but you're in trouble. That's all got to change. That's not the American way. I'm sorry, it's just not. So that was why VCDL and GOA, Gun Owners of America, sued the BATF. It was because they overstepped their bounds. They need to stay in their lane. They have a lane. They need to stay in it. That's all we're saying. And so what happened today, what the history of this was, so we did a lawsuit. We did it in the Sixth Circuit. And the Sixth Circuit is sort of, in the central U.S. And initially a panel, a three-judge panel agreed with us and said, no, bump stock is not a machine gun. Give me a break. So that was then appealed for an en banc hearing, which is the entire Sixth Circuit. All the judges then are involved in that. So they agreed to hear this. And today was the arguments. So they're not ruling today, but they heard both sides. They heard our attorney, Rob Olson, was the one that represented our side, and then the attorney for the government. I must say, Rob Olson was knew far more about guns clearly than the U.S. attorney.
And far more about the issue at hand.
Yes, absolutely.
I was amazed at, well, let's just say I was amazed at the government attorney. I'll be kind.
Yes. Yes. We can be kind, but it was, and the judges asked tough questions. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, you got to be patient to be presenting in front of these judges, because poor Rob, and if I have to say the poor other attorney from the government, you're trying to answer the question from the previous judge, and right in the middle of answering that, another judge jumps in and asks another question. Well, those judges get priority. So both of those attorneys shut up immediately, shifted gears, and started answering the new question. They'd be a third of the way through that one, and another judge would come in and ask another question. And so they would have to freeze what they were doing and immediately jump over and answer another question. Rob was very well versed. They threw up various case names, which didn't mean a whole lot to me, but he knew exactly what those were, and he addressed how this case differed or agreed with those previous cases. So he did an outstanding job. Where this will go, I don't know, but we're in for the fight. We're definitely we're gonna fight this out. We've got to make sure the BATF stays in their lane. Today, another interesting video which I put up there. Trust me, I do not watch The View. I would rather have my fingernails pulled out with pliers and then have bleach poured on the ends than watch The View. However, somebody else that did suffer through it, they had an interesting segment. And one of the ladies, she's one of the black liberal ladies on there, Sherry Shepard, talked about how she was now a gun owner. And at first the audience kind of laughed because she was pulling their leg. And then she said a little bit more and it got dead silent when they realized, oh no, she's not kidding. She's serious.
Yeah, because liberals are tired of people coming after them and killing their family too.
She was watching all the stuff going on with COVID and how all the other things going on, and she said to herself, I've got a young son. How can I protect him if I can't call the police, if there's riots going on, if COVID's going around and the police can't show up, whatever? How do I protect my son? So she and some ladies, she said, maybe they were actresses, I think, from Hollywood, got together and they went to a gun store and they bought guns. They got training. They've been to the range many times and learned to shoot.
I say.
Yes. Oh no,
Agreed.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I said I'm in the alert. I say I'm proud of Sherry Shepard for doing what's right for her and her family and not looking back, because she was unapologetic. Believe me, the audience was clearly mortified that she, especially a black woman, would think about her own personal safety. This was beyond the pale.
Can black women even have guns?
Well, apparently some of these people on the show didn't think that was something that was appropriate for her to do, but she was proud of herself, as she should have been. She was unapologetic. I thought it was a great segment. I really did. I think that segment opened some eyes in ways that you or I couldn't open them. These are people that watched that show that have suddenly seen a change of heart, and I think some of
When was that?
I'm sorry.
When was it?
I think it was today or yesterday. I mean, this is.
Oh, I might have to go look that up.
The video with the person that analyzed it, along with clips of that video, is in the alert. So there'd be a link there you can follow to see this. So you will be able to see this and see another person's analysis of what happened. But I think some of the shocked people in the audience and sitting up there with her were probably really envious, and they would never admit it, but that she had taken control of her life and was in control of it, and was in a position where she said she felt so empowered. Yes, you do feel empowered. Gun ownership does that. Us, all of you out there, we know this. We've experienced this from day one. But for a lot of people, this is brand new news. They have no idea what that kind of empowerment feels like, that feeling that you have control, some control. There's no guarantees in life, and a gun isn't a guarantee you'll survive an attack. But the empowerment is real and powerful. And I think it's wonderful that people got to hear this. So there is a link. Be sure you watch that in the alert. Now we'll talk about a lawyer here in Virginia with one little letter he mailed off to Franklin City. Stopped a gun buy-up. I call them buy-ups. Franklin City has never owned a gun and sold it to an individual. They do not sell guns. These are not them taking back guns that they sold us that they wanted to buy back now. No, they had nothing to do with that. This is a mere buy-up. It's another political joke. They throw money and, oh, look what we're doing. We're mighty city of Franklin. We're going to do something about crime. The rest of us are rolling our eyes, saying the very people that are turning those in are turning in junk guns or guns that will never, ever be used in a crime. Criminals are not going to turn their guns in. But the city councils go along doing what they're doing, pounding themselves on the chest. Oh, look what we're doing. So Franklin was all set. They had announced the date. It was November 6th, and they were going to do their little gun buy-up. And so a lawyer, Fred Taylor, here in Virginia, said, "Okay, all right, Franklin, okay." He sent him a little letter, and he said, "By the way, give me a copy of your ordinance that you passed per state law 15.2-915.5 that you had better have passed by law that enabled this gun buy-up." And it was, whoopsie, oh, we were supposed to have an ordinance? Ooh, we didn't know that. So they canceled the buy-up. And I'm sure they're now going to go forward and try to get an ordinance put in place. But the good news is that means that you, especially those of you in Franklin City, will now have the ability, when they bring that ordinance up, to speak against it in front of city council and say, "No, city council, we don't need to waste money on a political stunt. This is not going to do anything to lower crime in this city. Don't waste my money and don't waste your time and my time fooling with this." You now will have that chance. And you need to thank Fred Taylor for doing that. He sent me the email. Good stuff. This is how victories are made, and what good people can do when they step forward.
Right. And we need to watch that jurisdiction too and make sure they don't pass that ordinance.
I've told, and in the alert, I tell, if you live in Franklin or you live around Franklin, we're supposed to have a watch team leader there, but I want everybody to keep an eye, since we know they're trying to do this. If you live in that area, keep an eye out. Let me know as soon as you know, so that we can rally the troops. There'll have to be some announcement in the paper. Attend or watch the city council meetings like a hawk for a while. We need to know, because I don't want this to slip by. If they're going to do this, then they need to feel some pain for doing so. So I thought it might be time to update you guys on where we stand with concealed handgun permit holders in Virginia, since we had so many stories of permit holders stopping crime and either saving their lives or saving the lives of others. So I contacted the state police, and they have some really good people that work there. Michael Matthews is the head of the guys that deal with the firearm part of the like doing background checks and all that for gun shows. Michael also does the concealed handgun permit stuff. He's a civilian, but works for the works for the Virginia State Police, and he's always been very, very helpful. And he assigned Marie Lucas to do this. And my question was, where do we stand? How many CHP holders do we have that are from Virginia? How many are outside of Virginia? What's the grand total? So right now we have 719,524 resident permits. 719,524 Virginians have concealed handgun permits. There are 53,291 non-resident permits. That puts the total permits for Virginia at 772,815. That's over 750,000 people in a state with a population of little over 8.5 million.
One thing that Philip didn't say yet, but that means that out of those 719,000 people that have permits, and you have one, you need to tell your gun buddies that they need to get on board to help us fight this fight. You know, there's a lot of people that are pushing the cart, and we need everybody out there pushing along.
That's right. They should all be members of VCDL. I can't even imagine what we could do with that many members. I don't think there's anything we couldn't accomplish, quite honestly. I don't think so. But so many people just don't get off their butt and actually they get the permit and they think they've done all they have to do for society. No, the permit's for you. You want to protect it, you join VCDL. And on the other hand, we need all these people to vote. We need all.
And that doesn't even count all the people that just that open carry and don't have any permit,
or anybody that doesn't even have a handgun. What about all the hunters out there? What about all the clay shooters? What target shooters? Competition. Not all these people have permits.
All these people that think somebody else is going to take care of it for them, it's not going to be there. You gotta set up and do it yourself.
Right. You're Americans. Carry your own water. Don't expect somebody else to carry your own water for you. You're Americans. Do your part. Now, there was some more information that came out in another article looking at murders and guns. And so this has a bunch of graphs in it and statistics. And I've got the link for that. And it confirms what we've been saying all along. The vast majority of murders, we're not talking suicides and all that. I know the other side loves to throw in suicides because that's 2/3 of the misuse of guns taking people's lives. But true murders, the vast majority of them are people with criminal backgrounds killing people with criminal backgrounds in predictable parts of cities where the police know, yep. When I was a deputy sheriff in Bexar County in Texas, we pretty much knew the areas in the county where the most of the problems and murders were. I mean, you could kind of set your watch by. It's just the way it was. It was the poorer areas, and that's the way it was. So this has got a bunch of statistics and information. It's always good to know, especially when the other side tries to make it sound like all of us are in grave danger. We leave our houses, people are dropping like rocks, gun violence is everywhere. No, I don't even know if the community I live in has ever had anybody shot with a gun. I don't know that they have in all the years I've lived here. No, it's not out there. It's not everywhere that you go. It's not like that at all. But again, the other side is not going to tell you the truth. It's just not happening. The other thing that was in there, coincidentally, Roanoke, there was an article in an item in WSLS talking about how, again, the same thing. This just came out. Roanoke police data shows guns are misused to create violence in hotspots in Roanoke City. Who could have guessed that there were hotspots where all the crime is primarily committed? Who could have guessed that, huh? So, but again, we all have to give up our rights. We all have to go through this stuff because there's hotspots and there's bad guys killing bad guys. Somehow we're supposed to give up our rights over it. And I'm not doing it. I don't know about you. Another item, rare breed triggers. Rare breed has got a trigger that's called a forced reset. So it goes in an AR-15. You tend to have to adjust and get the proper recoil spring in your AR-15. And basically what it does is you pull the trigger, the gun goes bang once. As the bolt goes forward, the trigger pushes your finger forward and resets itself. Whether you like it or not, it resets itself like it's supposed to do. And if you still have pressure on it, your finger will then push back again on the trigger, activating it again. The gun will fire again. As the bolt goes forward, your trigger fingers push forward, like I say, against your will. Doesn't matter how tight you squeeze, it's going forward. And if you keep a gentle pressure on, it'll go back again once the gun's ready and fire another shot. So you get really fairly rapid fire from it. But it is basically a semi-automatic firearm. One shot per trigger pull. So the BATF, of course, can't have this because it looked like it was firing too fast for whatever they felt was their need for people to be able to shoot quickly. So they did a cease and desist letter on Rare Breed a couple weeks ago. Rare Breed's owned by a lawyer. He vetted the heck out of this trigger with people that do consulting for the ATF in court and ex-ATF employees, and everybody agreed, yep, this is not a machine gun. No way. So Rare Breed stood their ground and has continued to sell those triggers, waiting for a court order coming down. He said they will honor a court order, but there's no court order. And the BATF, they felt, is just making this out of whole cloth. Does that sound familiar? So what happened was Rare Breed tried to get an injunction to keep the BATF at bay until this whole issue could be settled in court once and for all. They lost that. The judge said, well, I'm not convinced that you're in such dire financial straits that this will destroy you. Basically, the judge said to the owner, you're a lawyer, you can get a job. You got a job. You're not going to go broke if we don't hold this up. So I'm not going to do an injunction. It just, for the judge, it wasn't an immediate enough problem. Now, the judge didn't rule as he could have. He could have said, well, I don't think you're going to win this, and therefore I'm not giving an injunction. I think you're going to lose. Judge didn't say that. He did not say that. So what's the upshot of this? Well, or the downshot, however you want to look at it, the semi-auto shot. The semi-auto shot is that, the BATF is going to want to get the client list for rare breed because they believe that these are machine guns. And rare breed has not turned that over, but we don't know where this could end up. So I did put a note in there. In the very unlikely event that you get a knock on the door and it's the BATF asking you about your rare breed trigger, at that point, it's time to take the Fifth Amendment and lawyer up. There's, first of all, obviously don't want to lie. They'll have proof that you bought one of those. I mean, just no, just keep your mouth shut. You can indicate I need to talk to my lawyer, and then I'll be happy to talk to you guys. But I'm going to call my lawyer. Thank you very much, and that should be the end of that. Hopefully, unless they had a search warrant. In which case, then they can come in and search, and in which case you stand aside and let them do it. So that's where rare breed is. So if you've got one, I don't know that anything's going to be happening anytime soon, but just in case, I'll give you a worst case scenario. Just understand that potentially the BATF could show up and ask you about that trigger. But this is where you need legal advice if that it becomes an issue. And so we'll be continuing to monitor this. I have no idea how many of you out there even have one of those triggers. I don't have one, but some of you might. So I'm assuming with 27,000 members and 60,000 on VA Alert, that some of you do. Appomattox County, guys. Appomattox County. Okay, you now have $15 to pay for a concealed handgun permit. It's official. Your county stepped forward and lowered the fee from, I think it was 50, I'm not sure, but it's now $15, which is the least that can be charged.
That's nice.
Yeah, it makes my heart warm to see Appomattox doing that. And some of these other counties can do it. It'd be nice if Chesterfield did. Then there's a call. Look, we need, if any of you guys out in Western and Southwestern Virginia, we could certainly use some help. Al Steed Jr., who was until recently on the board of VCDL, he had to step down. He's getting up in years and he has other things he needs to do. And he has given so much of his time over the years to VCDL. You would not believe how much that man has done. He's a one-man machine. But he needs to step down. We need somebody to, even if we have to take what he's done and divvy it up amongst 2 or 3 people. He did gun shows. He did other than gun shows. He put together picnics for VCDL, a variety of things like that. And we need somebody to take that off of him. He is such a gentleman that he's continuing to carry that load, but it's not fair. It really isn't. And
right. And ideally, we want 2 people. We're trying to have a coordinator and a co-coordinator in every single area that we have gun shows and stuff to take the load off so it's not as strenuous on one person.
Right. Yeah, in fact, that's quite a compliment to Al that we're saying, Al, I don't know that we can replace you with one person. I don't think it's possible. So we'll get 2 or 3 and make the burden lighter on everybody. But we don't want to lose our representation out west, guys. And we don't want to be back where we were 20 years ago when we didn't have anybody out there, and that was just a part of the state that wasn't represented. You are an important part of the state out west. We need you to stay in the fight. We need to keep reaching out to you. We need to do things out your way. We need to keep everybody engaged. This is an all hands on deck fight that we're going to be in for years. If you can step forward, please do so. And if you can, I want you to send an email to our state gun show coordinator, Mike Wilbert. Its email is gunshows. It's gun singular show cord, COORD as in coordinator, GUNSHOWCOORD at VCDL.org. It's Mike Wilbert telling you would love to be able to help. What can you do? And you can work something out. I know a lot of us have jobs and other things, but if we don't do this, someday you'll have a job but no gun. So it's up there. Maybe not even a job and no gun. So the other thing is if you live out in the Roanoke area and you've got any idea where we can get a well, it's not we, this isn't a VCDL thing, but this is helping out. If you know where there's a venue that the Roanoke gun show could be held, that's outside of the city limits, where we don't have to deal with Roanoke City until we can get these laws repealed, hopefully next year. Al Steed, again, there's Al. He wants to hear from you if you've got any ideas for venues where these gun shows can be held outside of Roanoke. His email is really simple. It's al at vcdl.org. So if you can reach out to him, that would be wonderful. So by now, some of you are starting to get this alert in your in basket. Be sure and go over it. I've covered a lot of it. There's all the links in there. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of important stuff, and you need to know it.
Yeah. Kathy was going to join the call and talk about the pack a little bit, but she had an issue that she had to take care of. So she just wanted me to remind everyone that we still need donations, especially now for the last push. So if you can throw a few bucks to the VCDL pack, please do so. You can do it right online, vcdl.org/donate. And you can do it either one time, or you can do it where it puts a little bit in every month, or whatever you want.
The pack is going to be running commercials. They're going to need some money.
Yeah.
Yes. VCDL and PAC are both planning commercials. So donations are critical at this time, but the PAC especially runs entirely off of donations. They don't have membership dues to help them along, and VCDL cannot give money to the PAC. So the PAC is 100% dependent on your kindness. And they would love to get that ad that you watched at the beginning of this out to people in key areas, especially Northern Virginia, the Tidewater area, the Richmond area, and Roanoke. And those areas cost more money because they're more densely populated.
Yeah. If you guys are up in Northern Virginia next week on the 27th, which is a Wednesday, we're going to have another in-person face meeting, dinner, whatever. So if you want to go to the meeting, you come around 7:30. But if you want to have dinner, then you come 6:30 or so and grab some food, so that when 7:30 rolls around, that you'll be stuffed.
Hey, Ed, I think we probably got a lot. We played that ad very early on into this. So we probably have a whole lot more people online now. Why don't we play the ad one more time? Because I think a bunch of these people never saw it and have no idea what we're talking about.
All right, you're going to have to give me a minute to pull it back up, because it takes a minute to get it going.
Yeah, well, he's working on that, Pat. Is there anything else you want to talk about on the pack to get people up to date on what you guys have been up to?
Sure. The PAC had a really fun fundraiser back in September. It was a shooting contest, and also people could try their hand at sporting clays. There was barbecue. Some of the candidates that are running in this November election were there, and people were able to ask them questions and talk to them face to face. And they ended up netting about $7,000, which a lot of that is going to be used to fund this ad. The PAC also has been a lot more active than it has in the past. Of course, it's a lot more critical now with the political climate, because what's happening here in Virginia is kind of the first domino, if you will, for the whole nation. So we either turn this ship around here, or our entire country is in serious jeopardy. So, we're not playing games with this.
Freedom started in Virginia, and it may have to start here again.
Right. Absolutely. And it will start here again. We're not giving up until we regain our state. So, VCDL has been in tough spots before. We started in a tough spot. Actually, VCDL started because Virginia was not a gun-friendly state. And some of us are old enough to remember that. But there have been, I don't know how many times, where VCDL was told, oh, you can't do that, it's impossible. And we just kept going like a bulldog until we accomplished our mission. And then we set another goal. So, but the PAC, getting back to that, the PAC is a 527 political organization. It is a nonprofit, but donations to the PAC are not deductible on your income tax. Same as donations to VCDL are not deductible on your income tax. But you know, the small deduction you would get on your income tax is really insignificant at this point compared to the huge threat to our rights. And we all know that if we lose our gun rights, we lose all our rights. So it's really, really important to support the Political Action Committee and to support VCDL.
Yep. Okay, so let me show the commercial again. Give me a second to mute and get everything ready to go.
Virginia murder rate is at a 20-year high, but the McAuliffe-Herring-Ayala Parole Board is releasing violent criminals into our neighborhoods. This man killed a 75-year-old veteran. This one raped and murdered a 78-year-old woman. He killed a 15-year-old girl. It's wrong and dangerous. Tell these politicians and their parole board to stop turning violent criminals loose on our families. Paid for by Virginia Citizens Defense League, defending the right to defend yourself.
We think that ad needs to run in a lot of parts of the state. There are
And it needs to go viral on social media. So if you're on various social media platforms, I posted the link earlier in the comments. Grab it and share it. Share the heck out of it and get it out there to a lot of people.
You know, the people that go out there to the malls and go shopping and go to the store, and they're not really paying attention to the politics. They'll pay attention when they realize that there's some dangerous people that are just getting released out there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, more and more people are becoming aware that we just can't rely on the government to protect us, to be there for us. We are our first line of defense. So, you know, people that never thought of owning a gun before, just like the woman on The View, they're going out and they're buying guns and they're taking lessons and they're learning how to use it because sometimes reality smacks you in the face, and hopefully it's not too painful and you learn from the experience and are able to grow from it.
Yeah,
So
the trend is our way. I believe the trend
absolutely.
is our way. Absolutely. I see you got Jeb Reed from one of our Illinois members. Welcome on board. I grew up in Hillside, Illinois, so you may or may not know where that is. It's a suburb of Chicago, out west of Chicago, in the
Yeah.
60s.
If we have time, Philip, while you were on the gun show coordinator thing, I want to give a shout out to Mike Wilbert and Andrea Porter, our state coordinators. They've really been working hard to take VCDL and our coordinators to the next level. We've been doing a lot of other than gun show events, and they are hugely important because there are people that go to gun shows on a regular basis and they know relatively about VCDL. They've seen the booth and gotten the stickers and things. But when you go to your little community fair or a craft show or a county fair or something like that, Glen Allen here outside of Richmond has Glen Allen Days once a year. We've set up booths there before. So if there's some sort of community event, National Night Out is a great one. Set up a booth there and contact the gun show coordinators, Andrea and Mike, and they'll get you a little display, send you brochures, stickers, things like that.
We'll help you get other people to help you man it.
Right. And the gun show coordinators now are working in teams so that when there's more than one event going on in an area, they can kind of tag team it, split up the workload, and they go out and help people that want to set up a booth at these local events and stuff. So
The organization has grown tremendously.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, in my
Yeah.
neighborhood, I live in a little hick town that doesn't even have a stoplight, and I mean, it is literally a blink you'll miss it town. And we've had the Beaver
They
Dam
have
Brew Jam.
pots.
Yep, we have pots, but we have the Beaver Dam Brew Jam, the Beaver Dam Wine Festival, the Beaver Dam Heritage Days, and other little events that we have here locally. And VCDL has been invited back to these events because we did one a couple of years ago, and they were like, "Hey, y'all need to come back."
I
So,
like the
You guys,
I like the shows that are like
mhm,
crafts and other something. They're not just gun shows because
right,
you end up talking to people that you would have never normally talked to, and they are very interested in the message.
absolutely. Car
they know how to
shows,
party in
tractor
Beaver Dam.
shows.
They know how to party, don't they, Pat?
They
In
do,
Beaver
yeah. But I mean, it's not just alcohol. We have tractor shows, car shows, and all sorts of things. So, but the point is that there are a lot of neighborhood festivals and events that have booths that you can put there and meet people and talk to them about different things. So it's an excellent opportunity. And if you are interested in getting something like that going in your neighborhood, or just want to let us know about it, go ahead and shoot us a message.
I see that Frank, oh boy, how do you pronounce his last name? Vretos? Ritos? I'm not sure. I'm sure I'll goof it up, but he just put something very interesting in a note at the bottom here in the chat. It says, believe it or not, there was a program on VPN just now. Dismantling Democracy was the name of it. Dismantling Democracy, that showed a brief glimpse of VCDL Lobby Day in a positive light.
Must have been an error.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I think at some point, some people are having to come along kicking and screaming and realize we've been right all along.
Yep. So, Philip, are we having Lobby Day in 2022?
Yes, yes, we are. And we're working on the details still, but we're well along in trying to get something coordinated. So we will be announcing how that's going to go as soon as we have some concrete things to talk about. But yes, there will be. Uh,
So, what day of the year is that?
well, last I checked, it's the
Oh,
third Monday. Oh, go ahead, Ed, in case I goof it up.
Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah, third Monday
But
in
aren't they
Wait a
January.
closed?
minute.
Isn't everything
Aren't
shut
they
down?
closed? Yeah, it's a holiday.
No, nope. General Assembly is open on holidays when they
The
need
only thing
to.
that doesn't work on that day is the parking meters.
Right. I think it's the gun controllers that try to throw that out. Oh, no point in going. They're all closed. No, they're
Hmm.
not closed. We never would make that mistake. So Lobby Day's coming up, guys. We'll be geared up for it. Believe me, we're working on this, and I think we're going to have some interesting things to announce. Hopefully,
Great.
I'm kind of
Well, I'm
glancing
looking
through
forward
some
to
of the
see
comments.
people on Wednesday. For anybody that makes it down to the lake house in Sterling, looking forward to seeing you there.
Believe me, Steve D'Antonio said when you get a silencer tax stamp, you forfeit the right. That's my understanding. He's talking about the right that the ATF just can't come charging in your home to look at your compressor.
Okay.
That's not. We've had lawyers recently speak up on this, and that's not the case. You don't waive your right to not have the government come charging in at will.
No, they can't. They can inspect to make sure that you have your NFA items, but they don't have the right to even come in your house. They can come and knock on your door and say, "Do you still have it?" You say yes. And if they need to see it, you can say, "Stand right there and I'll bring it out." Generally speaking, though, they will contact you ahead of time and you can take it to their office or make an appointment or whatever. But they do not have the right to just charge into your house just because you have an NFA item.
I just saw that, Steve. I wanted to make sure and clarify that. I'm just now trying. We've been so busy. I'm just now looking at some of the great comments in here. Yeah, John Goria says that ad should run in Ayala's backyard in Woodbridge. I agree. They should know what she's doing.
Well, make sure you share the video to other people so that people that couldn't watch and listen, they can at least listen to it on the way to work, just so they're uh, informed and can listen to what's going on and stay informed.
Yeah, and I see the name Robert Gray pop up in the comments there. He was instrumental in helping to get that 30-second ad that we've showed you twice now. He worked with an agency to get that put together, and with our executive member, Matt Gottschalk, who is a wizard with the video and the camera, does some amazing photography, does a lot of the videos that VCDL. So it's definitely a group effort, and I can't say this enough. VCDL is truly a grassroots organization, and it's each and every one of you that participates in some way, whether it be with your time, helping financially, whatever. That's what keeps us running, and that's what gets the attention at the General Assembly. And oh, by the way, don't let people tell you that we've lost. We haven't lost. If we had lost, then the General Assembly and the Richmond Police and all of that would not have tried to shut us down so much last lobby day. They would not have been throwing up barriers at every move. They are definitely worried about gun owners, and your voices are being heard and having an effect. So keep it up.
Yeah, we had, I think in the previous alert, there were a couple links in there as to what Terry McAuliffe has been saying about guns. I think that was, if you hadn't watched that, you should go back and watch that one. I don't know if Ed happens to have his fingers on it. He probably doesn't. But that was very enlightening, letting Terry McAuliffe, in his own words, talk about what he would do with gun rights.
Oh, and about how he had hoped that the voluntary background checks at gun shows would trap people that didn't take advantage of that into a liability situation if they sold a gun without the background check and then it later got used in a crime.
Yeah, nice guy,
So,
that Terry McAuliffe. Yeah, hoping
mhm.
to trap you. Well, you didn't do the voluntary background check, so you should be sued. We can sue you. We can go after you. That was what he was hoping to do.
Yep. Amazing it didn't happen.
That's all part of that video. So I suggest you go back and look at that.
Yep. So have you got anything else on your list, Philip?
No, I'm just glancing through. There have been so many comments. I want to make sure I don't miss anything important in here that we might want to talk about.
The only thing I have left on my list that we didn't say is just make sure you get out and vote.
Yes. Vote early and in person.
My wife and I have already voted, and our friends have all gone out. Do it on your lunch period if you have to. Take off for a little bit longer lunch. Grab your friends and go down and enjoy this nice weather and vote in person right there at where the registrar is in your area. And then you're done. Your vote's locked in. Nobody can steal it from you. It's there. If you wait till the bitter end, somebody somehow gets in and votes for you, you won't be able to cast your vote. So let's do it now. Let's get it over with. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that does happen.
Yes, it does happen. It's never happened to me, but it's happened. I've talked to people that have had it happen to them. So this is not a game I want to play to the end. We need to cast our votes and get everybody out. We need this to be an overwhelming election, one of them that's an eye popper that makes national news. We need to turn this ship around and save the Commonwealth and actually show the country how to save itself as well.
Yep.
So I guess that's it. I'm flipping through. There were. I'm only halfway through the comments. There were lots and lots. We got very active people out there. I love it.
Absolutely.
There wasn't really too many. Pat and I were kind of watching for the questions. I mean, Richard Moore said, "What's your all's thought on Youngkin?" I'll tell you what my thought is. It's a million times better than Terry McAuliffe.
Yeah, as I said, we know where Terry McAuliffe is coming from. He's not hiding. He's not talking about it much right now, but he has talked about it. He's made it clear where he will go. Right now, he's keeping his head down on guns because he doesn't want you guys woke up. But you are awake. It's too late. We know what he wants to do. He's not a wild card.
Yeah.
No, and he's been very vocal about it and hasn't backed down, even when other anti-gun candidates are strangely silent on firearms.
Yes.
So
All right. Well, I don't know. I guess if you guys have pretty much scanned these, I guess we'll keep everybody up late. I'm sure everybody's. Well, tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow's a work day. So,
yeah, it is.
but I appreciate all of you again coming out. It's always nice seeing some of you face to face. We'll be doing the face to face meetings around the state. We've been doing some. Virginia Beach was just last night. Pat was nice enough to run out and run that meeting for me. I couldn't get out there. But we're doing more and more of that. It's always fun getting together with you guys.
Yeah,
So
and if you want a live meeting in your neighborhood, you can send an email to president@vcdl.org with like 3 possible dates. You would line up a venue that doesn't ban guns and find 3 dates and send them to Philip, and he will tell you what works and what doesn't. And line up a restaurant close by if the meeting's not in a restaurant itself, and get a meeting set up in your neighborhood.
yeah, I look forward to running around and doing these meetings. There's a little bit of driving, but it's okay. It's all worth it. It's all worth it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's all I have. Patty, any last thoughts or anything?
Nope. Just talk to your friends. Share the heck out of that video. Link is in the comments, and it's also on our YouTube channel. So
The last day to vote early is the 30th of this month. Then you have to wait till November 2nd, the final day to vote. So let's vote early. You got till the 30th. So let's do it, guys. Let's do it. I think the 30th is a Saturday. So some of you that might be desperate to get out during the week and can't, there's a Saturday in there, so you can go. I believe the 30th is a Saturday. So
yes, it is.
You can vote that day. So put that on your calendar. If that's the absolute best you can do, then do it.
Yep.
Thank
Anything
you,
you
everybody.
have to add?
No, just thank everybody for joining us. And
Yeah.
we're here on the 3rd Thursday of every month. No matter what else we do, otherwise, that's just kind of what the thing we're kind of keep going ever since the COVID thing. It's a lot easier for a lot of people to get to the meeting and be informed. Instead of, we love the fellowship and we love going out and eating and whatever, but it's just another way that we can bring the news to you.
And hear from you. I learned a lot tonight just by looking at some of these comments.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Thanks for joining us.
Night.
Good night.